Hey guys, so I'm going to show you guys a quick Sass tutorial using WebMatrix 3. So I'm going to start up by making a new site. I'm going to add a new HTML file. Let's just call that index. And then I'm going to add a new Sass file. And I'm going to make this a SCSS file because I just prefer the syntax over the SASS syntax. Okay, so now that we got both of our files, it's time to make some classes to get this thing going. Let's see, set a link to the reference, href style.css, and that's important. You have to link the CSS file, not the SCSS file. Alright, let's see here. Alright, so the cool thing about Sass is that you can define variables. For instance, class 1 color. Let's assign that to the color green. Now let's make class 2 color. Let's make that blue. Alright. Now let's actually make our classes. Class 1. And then just gonna be lazy. Class 2. There we go. Alright, so since we have two Sass variables now, I could assign class 1 and class 2, or my bad, class 1 color and class 2 color. And I'm just gonna go ahead and assign those to the color properties. Alright, I'm gonna save that. Go back here, actually reference it. Now, if you look over there to the left, you can see that every time I save the SCSS file, it actually automatically gets compiled and converted to CSS. That's one of the neat features about WebMatrix 3 using the Orange Bits framework, or I'm sorry, extension. Let's see, let's go link it up real quick. Class 2. Let's see, there we go, some nice text. Alright, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and save that, run it, and let me just pull that from my other screen, and bam. I'm gonna zoom in a bit. As you can see, variables actually get translated, and it works. Pretty sweet, right? Alright, let's go back here, make a few more changes. Okay. So, another neat thing about Sass is basically just the amount of stuff you could do with all the variables now that you have that functionality that you previously didn't have, which is plain old CSS. So right now I just created a div inside of a body statement, and basically what that'll do is any div inside of a body will have this same property. Might seem kind of confusing, but just see. You save that, it's going to get compiled. If you look over here, that's the equivalent that gets matched out in CSS. So it basically gets interpreted to any div inside a body will have this attribute. So let's go ahead and make a div. Let's see, div, there we go. And that style should kick in nicely. Oh, there we go. Now let's go ahead and run that again. Pretty neat, right? So Sass basically tries to simplify your CSS writing to make it cleaner and easier to code. Alright, so what else can Sass do? Well, let's dive back in. Alright, so now let's say you want to share properties with a few variables, right? Let me just create a brand new variable, call it text style, and let's set it to Arial. Here we go. Now, alright, in Sass, there's something called a mixin. And basically, it's kind of like a mini class, so to speak. And basically, it allows you to share styles across multiple selectors. So I went ahead and called that my style. To define a mixin, you obviously use the @ mixin and then the mixin name. So now that I have my mixin, I need to have some properties and basically their attributes to go along with it. So let's see, color, just make that div color. And let's include text style in here. And make it the font family. You know what? On second thought, I should rename this. Makes more sense to be called text font instead of style. It's too generic. And that's the great thing about Sass. It's supposed to make modifications easier. Alright, so now let's go ahead and apply our mixin so you could apply it to all these style types, or I'm sorry, classes. Start off with the div inside the body. And to use a mixin, you start off with an include statement and then the name of the mixin. Alright, just gonna go ahead and copy that. And since I'm lazy, I'm just gonna paste it for these last two over here. One more. Oh, there we go. Cool. Gonna save that. It's gonna get compiled back to CSS. And let's run this guy. And now, if you take a look, this style's got applied all throughout. Pretty neat stuff. Sass is full of so many features. Now, okay, if you take a look at the CSS, you'll see exactly how it gets compiled. And it's not its own language, but more of an interpreter. So compiled is really a loose definition, but that's just the term we use. Now, okay, before I end this tutorial, I want to show you one last feature about Sass. Sass is actually smart enough to use math. Yep. So let's say I want to change the font size for all my mixins of my style, and I know I want 2 pixels, but I forgot what 2 pixels is multiplied by 10. Sass is smart enough to multiply it and add the extension pixels. Let's run that, and bam. Oh, well, it's not that noticeable since it's zoomed in. Let's make a more drastic change. Let's see here. Let's try 50. Let's try subtraction this time. Save that. That should give us 40 pixels in size. There we go. That's better. So if this were percentages, Sass would be smart enough to do that as 40%, not 40 pixels. That's the beauty of Sass. Well, anyway, that's my Sass tutorial, guys.
March winds and April showers make way for